Alright, in this video we are going to see how to create a notes plugin. So as you see in the dashboard, this is possible only when your plugin is active. So how to operate this? So the first thing what you have to do is you have to activate the plugin. Once you activate the plugin, you'll see the custom post type, the menu. It's not a custom post type, it's a menu. Once you click on this menu, you'll see a form which with one text area and one drop down. So let me say, and let me set the priority to low and click on add note. These data gets stored into the table called wp-nd-notes, and these data are getting fetched and displayed at the bottom of the form, and just for our reference, and then that is also getting reflected on the dashboard. The hook that we are going to see is wp_dashboard_setup. So with this hook, it is creating a widget in the dashboard is possible. So this is called dashboard widget in WordPress, and without wasting time, let's get started. So this is going to be the flow. We are going to see how to create the custom table. So this is the custom table which we have created, and we would be seeing how to create a menu on the dashboard. You can see this notes is actually the menu, and then we have our form. So this is a form which has one text area and one drop down button, and finally we would be seeing how to create this widget in the dashboard. So we need to get into the folder where our WordPress is installed. So this is the folder where my WordPress is installed, and inside the plugins I need to create a folder. So let me create a folder and call it as notes, and for the plugin structure we need one more PHP file with the same name as the folder name, and that's it. So to show our plugin in this plugin page, the minimum requirement is to have a comment. Let's create a comment. Now this is the plugin called notes, and the version is 2 and author is UI Monk. So this is the bare minimum to make your plugin visible on this page. As you can see, the notes are shown up. Now we need to prevent direct access to this file. How we are going to do that? So localhost, then we have content, then we have plugin, then we have our folder notes, then notes.php. So we have direct access to this file, and if you type something in the HTML, it's visible. So to prevent the direct access to your plugin, you have a code called WordPress gives you a constant called absolute path. If there is absolute path is defined, then immediately get away. Now if I refresh it, it won't allow me to see what is written in the code. Now on plugin activation, I want to create a table over here. So we have a function register activation hook. Let's just call that. Now this is the function would get executed when you activate a plugin. The first thing is we need to call the global WordPress object and give the table name. So by default WordPress uses a prefix called a wp hyphen, and whatever your table name is, to get the prefix of the current table we need to call the global WordPress object. Let's call that. So this is the WordPress global object. With this WordPress global object we need to set the prefixes. Along with prefixes we need to give our custom name for our table. Now the custom name is going to be just notes. Now we have set the table name. Now WordPress or any other database has a character set. Either it's going to be UTF-8 or UTF-MB4. So to know the current character set, this wp-db allows you a function. So that is get character set, call it. Now we need to run an SQL query to create the table with column ID and column note text and column priority and column created. Let's do that. Now it's defined to a variable called SQL create table, and this is a table name, and the ID, note text, priority and created are the column name, and just after that we have a data type medium int text character and date time, and these are the constraint like it's not null. These data should not be null, and ID is the primary key which I have mentioned, and along with that we need to pass the character set. Now to run the custom table query, WordPress gives you two options. So first option is WP query, which is for the custom inbuilt table, and if you need, sorry, it's I just set the combination of two. If it's an inbuilt table, we would be using WP query. If it's a custom table, then we need to use delta db. So to access delta db, what we need is we need to call the file first. So the delta db function is written in the folder called wp-admin. Inside wp-admin you'll find includes folder, and then you'll find the file called upgrade.php. Now this is the function that will execute your custom tables query. So this is the bare minimum. When your plugin is active, the code inside would create a table. So let's see whether we are able to create a table called nodes in the A1 database. Nodes, Control F, nodes, not yet. Yes, it's nodes. Refresh it. Yep, on refresh you can see the table name along with the columns has shown up. Now what we need to do is we need to show our menu in the sidebar. So for that we need to call a hook called admin menu. Let's call that. So admin menu calls a function, and here it's the straightforward function, which is admin menu. So we need to pass the post title, we need to pass the menu title, and we need to pass the capability, whether it's manage option, and then we need to give the slug. Slug is nothing but what you see over here. It's going to be the slug, and then the function. So the menu page function, and then the, let's just name it as nodes manager dashboard. And if I refresh this, you should see a link on the sidebar saying that nodes manager. It's coming from this name. Now we need to define a function. So what happens is we need to create a form just like this one. So to create a form, we need to write an HTML. Let's write the HTML. So the HTML is very straightforward. We have a select tag, we have a text area, and we have a submit button. We need to note the name. And once I click on this button, a PHP function should get executed. It will check whether the button is clicked or not. If it is clicked, then these values, the select tag value and the text area value, will get stored into a variable. Let's do that. Now we are checking whether the button is clicked. If it is clicked, then store the text area value and the priority value, select tag value inside the variable, and we need to run an SQL query. So to run an SQL query, we need to define the database name, and we need to call the object, WordPress database object. Let's do that. Now let's run the insert query. So insert, we are passing the table name, and these are the columns. Once it is done, we need to show that a success message that it is saved. We'll be using the class called updated and notice. Let's refresh this. So this is actually, let's just deactivate the old one, or else it is going to give problem. Now if we get into nodes manager, you should see the form, and as I click on the submit button, the data should get saved. So learn Laravel is low medium priority. Click on add note. You'll see a success message, and if I refresh this page, you should see the add learn Laravel shows up. Let's do one more thing. Learn React.js app development, and it's very low priority. Click on add, and again, now when I click on submit, I want the data to be displayed over here. So for that, we have written the insert query. Now we need to write the select query. So let's just do that with the help of the database object, which is defined over here. we'll use the select query now and store those values into the nodes. So with the wp dv, we have a function get result, select all the values from table where order by the date in the descending format. Now these value hold the whole column, so let's just display below. Now with the PHP, we are checking whether there is nodes variable. If there is nodes variable, then use the for each value and display one by one value. So now you will see just the plain warning, if the nodes is not set, it's saying undefined variable nodes. Actually this should come out because on page load it should fetch these value and display it. So instead of displaying it in the set, let's just do it over here. Now the value is not displayed in the form of table. Now we need to create a table. Let's just do that. Now the code is straightforward. We have just called the table head, and these are the regular for each value, and the table gets closed here. Now on refresh you should see the data getting displayed on the table. Let's try adding learn css3 grid and set it to low priority and click on add node. Now the data is getting saved in the database and it's able to fetch these values in the settings page. Now in the dashboard we need to display the same value. So for that we need to call a function on a hook. So this is a hook. When the WordPress gets set up, now we need to write function similar to the menu that we have written. You can see these similar to this. We will be again using wp hyphen add hyphen, sorry, it's not hyphen, it's underscore dashboard underscore widget. Now this is the unique ID that you need to give. So this is the name of the widget that will show up, and then this it's the relevant function. Now in the relevant function that would get called here, we are going to write something similar to this code. Get the variable, get the global WordPress object and select all those value and display it in nodes. Now previously we had used table row. Now let's just with the similar code, let's just use the list item. Starting, open the unordered list and close the unordered list. In between, use the for each loop to loop the list item. Now if I refresh it, you should see the nodes. Let's try adding one more thing, which is learn WordPress plugin, which I'm setting it as a high priority. If I refresh the dashboard, you should see on high priority learn WordPress plugin. This is the date that we have created. I hope we have completed the episode number 12. Meet you in another episode. Until then, I'll leave the source code in the description in case if you want, just follow it along.